Okay, everybody, welcome in, welcome in. This is coming from the AP News. Their big headline is Biden pardons his son Hunter despite previous pledges not to. How many of you guys have been waiting to hear that? You know how many conversations I have had with people where we've discussed this and they're like, no, Biden's not going to do that. And I'm like, what makes you think that Biden won't do that? Well, he said he wasn't going to do that. Okay, he said he wasn't going to do that. You think he's not going to pardon his own son before he leaves office? He's not going to be in office again. Why would he not pardon his own son? He said he wasn't going to pardon his son. He's not going to pardon his son. He's not going to go back on his word. He's an honorable man.
That I'm not going to do anything. I said I abide by the jury decision, and I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
Okay, do y'all see the headline? AP News, Biden pardons his son Hunter despite previous pledges not to. Let's go ahead and read this. President Joe Biden pardoned his son Hunter on Sunday night, sparing the younger Biden possible prison sentence for federal felony gun and tax convictions and reversing his past promises not to use the extraordinary powers of the presidency for the benefit of his family. I think most of us knew better. The Democratic president had previously said he would not pardon his son or commute his sentence after convictions in 2 cases in Delaware and California. The move comes weeks before Hunter Biden was set to receive his punishment after his trial conviction in the gun case and pled guilty on tax charges, and less than 2 months before President-elect Donald Trump is set to return to the White House. It caps a long-running legal saga for the younger Biden, who publicly disclosed that he was under federal investigation in December 2020, a month after his father's victory, and it cast a pall over the elder Biden's legacy. I mean, to be honest, is there anybody here that wouldn't pardon their son? Come on, honestly. I'm going to pardon my kids if I had the power to do so. I just am. It would kind of be crazy if he didn't. Biden, who time and time again pledged to Americans that he would restore norms and respect for the rule of law after Trump's first term in office, ultimately used his position to help his son, breaking his public pledge to Americans that he would do no such thing. In a statement released Sunday evening, Biden said, "I believe in the justice system, but as I have wrestled with this, I also believe raw politics has infected this process and it led to a miscarriage of justice." Wonder what that would be. What process? The process that he was guilty and found guilty in a court of law? He was found guilty despite the fact that he was your son, because the legal system was on his side. There was just so much overwhelming evidence that they had to find him guilty, or it would look like it was rigged. The president's sweeping pardon covers not just the gun and tax offenses against the younger Biden, but also any other offenses against the United States which he has committed or may have committed or taken part in during the period from January the 1st, 2014 through December the 1st, 2024. What does Joe Biden know that Hunter has done that we haven't found out about yet? He covered it all. In June, Biden categorically ruled out a pardon or commutation for his son, telling reporters as his son faced trial in the Delaware gun case, "I abide by the jury decision. I will do that and I will not pardon him." Well. We are not surprised that Joe Biden has changed his mind or forgot about his earlier statement. As recently as November the 8th, days after Trump's victory, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre ruled out a pardon or clemency for the younger Biden, saying, "We've been asked that question multiple times. Our answer stands, which is no."
Would the president pardon or commute his son if he's convicted?
So I've answered this question before. It was asked of me not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago, and I was very clear, and I said no.
Hey, let me go back to the first question of the briefing. I know you said not a lot's changed since yesterday and that it's a personal matter, but from a presidential perspective, is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No.
Again, you've also said several times that the president would not pardon or commute sentences for his son, Hunter. I just want to make sure that that is not going to change over the next 6 months. The president's saying he would not.
It's still a no. It's still a no.
It will always be a no.
It's still a no. It will be a no. It is a no, and I don't have anything else to add. Will he pardon his son? No.
So she was wrong. She's wrong a lot, so we're not surprised at that either. Joe Biden has publicly stood by his only living son as Hunter descended into a serious drug addiction and threw his family life into turmoil before getting back on track in the recent years. Or they've told us that he's gotten back on track in the recent years. I don't know what we can believe from these people anymore. The president's political rivals have long used Hunter Biden's myriad mistakes as a political cudgel against his father. In one hearing, lawmakers displayed photos of the drug-addled president's son half naked in a seedy hotel. But I think those pictures had to do with Hunter Biden coming in and testifying. So, I mean, they should have. They should have presented all the evidence they had. House Republicans also sought to use Hunter's years of questionable overseas business ventures in a since-abandoned attempt to impeach his father, who has long denied involvement in his son's dealings or benefit from them in any way. And all of that was proven as well, that Hunter was a part of Burisma, and he had no reason to be. He had no qualifications to be. He did nothing for them, and his father, yes, was at many dinners and phone calls with those people, so he was involved in his business dealings. Biden said in a statement, the charges in his case came about only after several of his political opponents in Congress instigated them to attack him and oppose the election. No reasonable person who looks on the facts of Hunter's case can reach any other conclusion than Hunter was singled out because he's my only son. That's laughable. Anyway, Biden added, I hope Americans will understand why a father and a president would come to this decision, claiming he made the decision this weekend. I think he knew that he was going to make this decision all along, and I think we all know that. The president has spent the Thanksgiving holiday in Nantucket, Massachusetts, with Hunter and his family, and was set to depart for Angola later Sunday on what might be his last foreign trip as president before leaving office in January 20th, 2025. Hunter Biden was convicted in June in Delaware federal court of 3 felonies for purchasing a gun in 2018 when prosecutors said he lied on the federal form by claiming he was not illegally using or addicted to drugs. He had been set to stand trial in September in the California case accusing him of failing to pay at least $1.4 million in taxes, but he agreed to plead guilty to a misdemeanor and felony charges in a surprise move hours after jury selection was set to begin. Hunter Biden said that he was pleading guilty in that case to spare his family more pain and embarrassment after the gun trial aired salacious details about his struggles with a crack cocaine addiction. He was afraid we was going to find out more, I'm sure. The tax charges carries up to 17 years behind bars, and the gun charges were punishable by up to 25 years in prison, though federal sentencing guidelines were expected to call for far less time, and it was possible that he would have avoided prison entirely. Hunter Biden was supposed to be sentenced this month in 2 federal cases, which the special counsel brought up on the plea deal with prosecutors that would likely have spared him prison time, and it fell apart under the scrutiny of the judge. Under the original deal, Hunter was supposed to plead guilty to a misdemeanor tax offense and would have avoided prosecution in the gun case as long as he stayed out of trouble for 2 years. But the plea hearing quickly unraveled last year when the judge raised concerns about unusual aspects of the deal. Hunter was then indicted in 2 of the cases. Hunter Biden's legal team this weekend released a 52-page white paper titled The Political Prosecutions of Hunter Biden, describing the president's son as a surrogate to attack and injure his father, both as a candidate in 2020 and later as president. Wow. Biden's lawyers have long argued that prosecutors bowed to political pressure to indict the president's son amid heavy criticism by Trump and other Republicans, of which they called the sweetheart plea deal. I mean, he actually did this stuff. If one of Trump's sons had even did something like littering, they would have thrown the book at him. They would have not even got a sweetheart deal. It's crazy that they think that Hunter shouldn't have been charged. It's crazy, especially coming from the people who say no one is above the law. James Comer blasted the president's pardon, saying the evidence against Hunter was just the tip of the iceberg. So they probably did have more stuff that was getting ready to come and get him on. And that's why he went all the way back to 2014 with the pardon. It's unfortunate that rather come clean about their decades of wrongdoing, President Biden and his family continue to do everything they can to avoid accountability. Wonder if Joe Biden will pardon himself. Wonder if that's going to come next for charges he's not even seen yet. Biden is hardly the first president to deploy his pardon powers to benefit those close to him. And like I said, if it was a family member of mine and I had the powers, I'd pardon him too. I'm not mad at him. I mean, it'd been crazy if he didn't do it. We're not surprised. The part about it is that all through the campaign, Joe Biden continued to say that he would not do it, that he would not think about it, he would not consider it. His press secretary, all the Democrats, everybody rallied against whatever the jury says we will abide by. That's the part. That's why this is breaking news. We knew it was going to happen. They denied it. It seems to be a running thing. Hunter Biden said in an email statement that he will never take for granted the relief granted to him and vowed to devote the life he has rebuilt to helping those who are still sick and suffering. I cannot wait to see that. I cannot wait to see that. I cannot wait to see that. I have to admit and take responsibility for my mistakes during the darkest days of my addiction. Mistakes that have been exploited by publicly humiliated and shamed me and my family for political sport, said Hunter Biden. You're in the public eye. You make a living out of being in the public eye. So we're going to scrutinize everything you do. Hunter Biden's legal team filed Sunday night in both Las Vegas and Delaware, asking the judges handling the gun and tax cases to immediately dismiss them, citing the pardon. NBC News was the first to report Biden was expecting to pardon his son Sunday. They might have been the first to report it, but they were not the first to know about it. Associated Press writer Josh Boak in Nantucket, Massachusetts, contributed to this report. Who else was part of it, so we don't miss anybody? Zeke Miller, Elena Riker, and Colleen Long. Thanks to the AP reporting. So there you have it, folks. I think it's something we knew all along was coming. They said it wasn't, but we have learned not to believe anything they say. And there you have it. Hunter Biden from 2014 to 2024. Anything that he has done will be pardoned by his father, Joe Biden. Tell me what you think about this in the comments. If you had the power, would you pardon your family member? I would. See you next time.